This is our speaker's corner for Madison. Everybody is welcome to speak. We ask that ladies first, of course, but everybody is welcome. And I'd like to welcome everyone to this wonderful event in honor of Thistle Patterson. So I guess I am the first speaker. My name's Jennifer Thomas. I started a group called Rev Fem Rebellion, and I have gone on boots on the ground all across America, trying to figure out the temperature of America. And what I found is that everybody knows. Everybody knows. And you know how I know this? Because everybody knows to shut up. That's how I know that. But there are different levels of silence that are operating here. And people are afraid, but with this Will Thomas episode, we have brought attention to this issue, and people are getting less and less afraid to speak up about this. Will Thomas just scratches the surface on what's happening. Our children are being indoctrinated, groomed in schools. The next thing that I'm focusing on for boots on the ground is to go into schools and talk to the school boards and root this out, pull it out by the root. And the mothers are coming. The mothers are calling me every day. They want resources to go into the schools, and they're coming, and we are a powerful force. You will not be able to stop mothers protecting their kids. It's almost like I feel sorry for you. I actually feel sorry for this movement because their history already. When women decide to protect their children, they will do it at all costs. We do not have to listen to this. Listen to them talking about how trans women are women. Trans women? There are no trans women. There's no such thing as trans. Trans is a made-up ideology. If you believe human beings can change sex, I have a bridge to sell you. All right, human beings cannot change sex. Trans is over. Trans is history. Women, mothers protecting their children is what we're seeing now. That's what they're afraid of. They're afraid of us uniting and protecting our children because they're grooming them in our schools. They're indoctrinating them. They have transition closets that they can go and pretend they're something else and not even tell their parents. This is total indoctrination. If you don't believe this, go to your school and look at the policies. Your kids are being indoctrinated, and it is very important that you go look at your school policies because the EO enabled every school that's getting federal funding to have these policies. They enforce these policies. In fact, if they don't abide by these policies, they will get their funding removed. So if you don't think this is in your school, it is. So please protect your children. And even if you don't have children, protect the children. There are no trans kids. Thank you very much.
I'll go next if you just give me a moment to get my speech together. I have it prepared. I think we should let women speak, though. Let women speak. Let women speak. Let women speak.
Let women speak. Let women speak. Let women speak. Let women speak. Let women speak. Let women speak. Let women speak. Let women speak. Let women speak. Let women speak.
I am a woman. I'm getting in the right position here. One moment, please. I am a woman. I've been a woman for a little over half my life. I mean, 2/3 of my life if you count like from the moment of menses to today, half my life if you count age of majority. So let women speak. 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 Let women speak.
Let women speak! Let women speak!
I am a woman. I wasn't born a woman. No one's born a woman. I became a woman. I became one through the one and only path to womanhood, and that is girlhood. I was born a girl. It didn't take a decision or an assessment or an assignment to recognize me as a girl. And for 99.999% of us, it's just that simple. Here's a baby built according to the female body plan. It's a girl. This baby is born according to the male body plan. That's a boy. And it's really that simple. And anybody that's trying to tell you that it's more complicated than that is lying to you. I am not a strong woman. I mean, I'm tenacious. Slow down. I've been told to slow down. Sorry. So to recap, I am not a strong woman. I'm not. I mean, I am tenacious though, and I'm ethical. I'm convicted. I'm loud. I'm really loud, and I'll have to get louder. I am courageous, and courage calls to courage. Courage calls to courage. But I'm not strong. I'm not even strong for a girl. But for the girls and women who are strong for girls and women, like my friend Beth Stelter over here, who's been working tirelessly to defend women's sports and our rights to have sports. For those women who are strong for a woman and strong for a girl, your sports matter. And you deserve to have sports. And your wins matter. Every win matters. And I am cheering for you. I gotta tell you, I became such a fan of the WNBA and women's softball and women's gymnastics. Women's sports are amazing. If you love baseball, check out women's softball because they're freaking diving. They're diving for those outs and they are getting 9 RBIs in a game and all that kind of stuff. So women's softball. So anyway, I got off script, so put a parenthesis around that. Anyway, I got to wondering, why aren't women in control? Like, obviously, we're better. But I mean, even a physically, the fact is, this is why. Listen up, this is why. Because even a physically pathetic man could punch my lights out. He could fucking punch my lights out because I'm not a strong woman. I'm a woman. I'm a woman like most of us. So I find it barbaric and crude that men would do that, and that's the...
Why are you talking about me right now? Let women speak! 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 Let women speak!
Let women speak! Let women speak! Let women speak! Let women speak! Let women speak! Okay, quick, cool. So sorry about that. So anyway, I've asked men for protection. I've asked men, protect me. Be my partner. They said they would and they didn't. And I got hurt. And I'm still here. On Earth, in Madison. I'm here. Hurt, but healing. Becoming whole right here in Madison. I'm here to tell a few stories, but I'll tell my own stories. Thank you. I won't be the center of your gossip. Let's talk about gossip for just a moment. I'm talking to my friends right now. We are different women. We have different values and priorities. We are not a monolith. Any kind of woman that you can imagine is a woman that's in this movement. We are better. I would call that person a man. I would call that kind of a person a man. Like, women are female, according to the female body plan, women and girls. Anyway, I'm going to just hot change a little bit of what I had to say here and let somebody else speak. But I could spend the rest of my life fighting this fight, and I might, and I will, and I'll do it alone if I have to. The number of people who might remember me when I fight this fight alone will round down to 0. But if you join me in this fight, if we do it together, woman to woman, 2 minutes at a time. You get 2 minutes at the school board and the city council, and we are going to win this fight 2 minutes at a time. And I will fight it until the end, because I will never, ever forget what an adult human female is, and that I am one, and I am here.
Thank you, Kitty Jean. My name is Beth. I'm an organizer of this weekend. I came here to Madison to speak about the dangers of gender identity politics and transgender ideology. I'm a mother, I'm a radical feminist, I'm a progressive. Like so many women here today, I am politically homeless because the Democrats have abandoned women. They don't care to protect women. They cater to men with special feelings about themselves and silence anyone who dares to question this dogmatic cult. On his first day in office, President Biden signed an executive order calling for the passage of the Equality Act, which allows for sex self-ID, that replaces the category of sex with that of gender identity and erases women as a social and political class. This has opened the door for men to be allowed into women's prisons, where they rape and assault women. Women's domestic violence shelters, where they re-traumatize vulnerable women. Women's sports, where they dominate women and girls who have worked their whole lives for achievements to be stolen by otherwise average male athletes. A generation of children are harmed by believing that their feelings are an identity and are failed by the adults entrusted to protect them. Physically healthy girls as young as 13 receive double mastectomies. Parents are losing custody of their children for refusing to validate their gender identity. Thousands of detransitioners live to regret lifelong medical decisions made without the foresight to see the fallout of such decisions, which surrounded by trusted adults who would only affirm them and are now left alone to navigate those consequences. Trans rights are not the civil rights issue of our time. Gender identity politics harm women and girls, gays and lesbians, and other marginalized communities. We must stand up and say so before it's too late.
Hi, my name is Artemis Passionfire. Some people know me as Diana Goldman, and I got a host of other names, okay? But it's necessary at this time because it's just too dangerous for our jobs, for our safety. They can follow us in our homes, anything. I've been at this fight for 30 damn years. I came out in 1981. Dyke Witches brought me out. Women were proud to be women. Lesbians were proud to be lesbians. It was butch lesbians who mentored me. I'm proud to be a butch lesbian. When I was a kid, right on, sisters. I came out as a feminist at 9 years old and argued with my Jewish grandfather about it. He says, "Are you one of those women's livers?" And I said, "Yes, I am." What did I know? New York, 1969. What did I know? I just wanted my rights as a girl. And I fought for those rights, whether it was with boys or whatever. You're not going to leave me out, but I wanted to be a boy. I wanted all the rights that boys had. I didn't want a penis. I wanted the rights boys had and could take for granted. At 14 years old, I got into the martial arts, but I was sexually molested when I walked my dog at 9 years old in New York City at the park. You know, and after that, I didn't figure it out until I came out in college. Why that was, I didn't want to wear dresses anymore because I felt safe in pants. You know, I didn't mean to talk about that, but you know, we all know the stories. We've all been victimized one way or another. 1 out of 3 women get raped. You know. And in England, they've got good statistics in England. They show that trans so-called women have the same level of criminality as any other man with a penchant for sexual crimes. These are statistics. And that 14,000 girls have wanted to transition over the past many years. They never had that many wanting to transition. They want to run away from womanhood. They want to cut off their titties and run away from womanhood because it's hard to be a goddamn woman. It really is hard. It's hard because we've had 6,000 years of patriarchy breathing down our throats. I've also been in the trades. I've got harassed, not discriminated against much more than harassed. In the trades, you know, laid off before the men are, all that kind of stuff. And that is the war zone. That is the center of patriarchy. And to be brave in the center of patriarchy is fucking hard. It is hard. It's hard to get the jobs we want. It's hard to get the self-esteem we want. It's hard to get the recognition we want in every single field. I wanted to be an astronaut, but girls weren't being astronauts in the 60s. But that's what I wanted to be. You know, nobody showed me that path. But, you know, there's 10,000 goddesses, and we all can be, you know, we're all sisters together. We're all born through a woman. Our yonis are sacred, you know, and I don't want us to lose our sex, for children of either sex to lose their ability and to enjoy sex, to enjoy their bodies, to be healthy and strong, and to be accepted just exactly the way they are. Whether you're a feminine boy or a tomboy like me, tomboys, not trans boys, you know, come out to be strong butch women or just lesbians in general, and that we can be proud to be women-loving women, whatever kind of woman-loving woman you are, whether you're a straight woman, bi woman, or lesbian woman, and I will fight for our born female space till the day I fucking die. Goddess bless sisters, you are strong, and I am proud of every single one of you. Blessed be. Adult human female.
All right, I want to do a chant with all of us. It goes, biology is not bigotry, it's simply just a fact. Speak the truth, it's not a hate crime. Women, fight back. Women, fight back. Biology is not bigotry, it's simply just a fact. Speak the truth, it's not a hate crime. Women, fight back. Women, fight back. Biology is not bigotry, it's simply just a fact. Speak the truth, it's not a hate crime. Women, fight back. Women, fight back. Biology is not bigotry, it's simply just a fact. Speak the truth, it's not a hate crime. Women, fight back. Women, fight back.
Hi. All right. So Andrea Dworkin tells me that our female body is the physical grounds in which oppression happens. And so my response to that is that then our female bodies should be the physical grounds in which we seek our liberation. My name's Serendipity. I'm a women's wellness coach, and so we are going to talk about the pelvis. All right. Yes. Yes. All right. So men's pelvises is what healthcare is based off of. Men's pelvis serves one function, and that is structural. Women's pelvises serve two functions. It's structural and movement. How do you think we get babies out? So for men, it's fine because their center of gravity is in their sternum to stand completely stacked up. Knees above ankles, hips above knees, shoulders above hips, right? That causes prolapse for women. So what we need to do in order to protect our female pelvis is that we need to stand like women. So we're going to bend our knees. I want everyone to do this with me. Bend our knees, keep your ankles more than feet distance apart, or hip distance apart, a little bit more than that. Bend your knees. You're going to kind of twerk your pelvis a little bit. See what that feels like, right? This is a good movement for women. All right, so when we're up, that has a sensation, and when we're back, that has a sensation, right? We're gonna keep our butts out, right? We're gonna stick our butts out, and then we're gonna keep our chest, we're gonna pull our ribs in without tucking our tailbones, and we're gonna kind of roll over our shoulders a little bit to protect our hearts. Because my heart and my pelvis is for me. When I am in this position, I am strong. No one can push me over. However, when I have my chest out and my pelvis out, who does that benefit? That benefits men. And when I am in this position, I can easily fall. So stand like women, protect your pelvises, come to my workshop tomorrow.
Hi.
I have walked around and asked many of the transgender activists the simple question, what is a woman? The answer that I get is not an answer. They say trans women are women. But when you say trans women are women, you still have not defined woman or women. It would be as if I said, I'm a gobbledygook. You wouldn't know what I was when I say I'm a gobbledygook unless I told you what a gobbledygook was, okay? You can't use a circular definition, but it's actually quite simple. Women are adult human females. Just like cows are adult female bovines, does are adult female deer, mares are adult female equines. All mammals, and we humans are mammals, reproduce sexually. All that reproduction takes is a male sperm, which is a small sex cell, and a female egg, which is a large sex cell. That's it. That's what male and female are in humans and in all mammals. But actually, it's even simpler than that. When I ask somebody, what is a woman? The fact is, every person standing here knows what a woman is, because every single person standing here, including them, was born from the body of a woman. Think about that. It's that simple. Every single person, including the people who are claiming that people with penises are women, knows for a fact that they were born from the body of a woman, and that woman did not have a penis.
You've heard of transgender people? Maybe you're familiar with transgender women. Trans women speak. Let trans women speak. Let 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 women speak.
Let me speak. Let me speak. So I'm saying to everybody here, just remember that. When somebody says to you, trans women are women, stop and think, what is a woman? You know what a woman is even if you don't know English, even if you don't have a human language. You know what a woman is because you are surrounded by women, and you have been given life from the body of a woman. It's that simple.
These people are anti-science. They don't believe.
I used to think I was trans for 7 years, and I just slower. I used to think I was trans for 7 years, and I just want to say thank you for finding me before I hurt myself. Thank you for welcoming me home, sisters.
All right, if you'd like to come and speak, line up over here and talk to me. Until I see the first person, I'm going to give you my definition of woman in 4 parts. First one is our spiritual definition. In every single corner of the earth, the first depiction of a deity is a woman, a goddess giving birth. If we birth, then we bleed. If goddess births, then she bleeds and she cycles too. My second definition of a woman is metaphorically, we are the gatekeepers of birth and death. All consciousness is created within our mother's womb. We create bone and consciousness and placentas. Like, how cool is that? Third definition is social definition. We are the subordinate sex. We are on the bottom of the hierarchy. Everyone knows who is rapeable, right? My fourth definition of woman is, oh shoot, I got really nervous.
How much you hate the curse for? How much you hate potato head. How much you need to make your suit?
My first definition of what a woman is biologically. We have big gametes, right? We have big gametes. They are full of mitochondria and cytoplasm. Mitochondria is the root word of mitochondria is from the mother. All right, here is the next one.
I just have one question that no one seems to be able to answer. What's the only prerequisite to being a trans woman? And can I be a trans woman?
Okay, you just
Cool. Does that mean we all get like free butt lifts and breast augmentations and rhinoplasties? It's covered by Medicare. Medicaid, whatever. But it is paid by people outside of just your pocket. So you're asking other people to pay for your cosmetic surgeries. I'm just curious if every other woman is secure enough. Do you want cosmetic, anybody? Anybody else want cosmetic surgeries? No? I didn't figure. But if you're going to open it up to women are allowed these procedures, okay, there's insecurities in every woman. We're not paying for everybody's insecurities. Everybody is self-conscious. Everybody is insufficient in their own mind. We're the ones telling kids you're good enough. We're the ones telling kids you don't have to alter your body. We're the ones saying you don't have to be a sexist stereotype to be important. You believe in sexist stereotypes. Gender is broken down to the easiest thing. Sexist stereotypes. I am a woman, a female, and it is my body, not my aesthetics, that dictate that.
I'm going to be short and sweet. I'm going to tell you the truth here. Here's the real truth. No one is born in the wrong body. No one. It's a physical impossibility. You are born the way you are born. And telling a child that they are born in the wrong body and that there's something wrong with them, there's something wrong with their organs, is child abuse. I want to say two more truisms here. The suicide stats that the trans activists like to quote are false. No child commits suicide because they're misgendered. That is a falsehood. Children are committing suicide because they're told to hate their parents. They are told by teachers that they're really not the gender that they were born. They are being told that doctors may have made a mistake with their sex. These are lies. These are lies. The number of transgender people that commit suicide that's right, post-transition is 19% higher. 19% higher after transitioning. Those are the true facts. Read them. Understand them. Stop harming children.
Let's do a reprise, shall we? I'm looking for all of those dead trans kids' bodies. They are nowhere because they do not exist. I personally know a number of mothers of trans-identified children. I have read and heard the stories of even more mothers whose children describe themselves as some sort of trans. None of these mothers gave birth to unicorns, and thus their children are either female or male human beings and will always be so. I do not believe in unicorns, and I do not believe in this mythological creature called a trans child. There is no such creature. This is mythology, a story that we tell ourselves to make meaning of a phenomenon that makes us uncomfortable. But this insistent, persistent, and consistent myth requires that we pull our heads out of the sand, stop believing in unicorns, and acknowledge that we have more work to do. The longer that we spend our time describing these unicorns, decorating them with rainbows and glitter, styling their hair, giving them names, platforming and placating them, the more unicorn shit we will have to clean up when we realize that they are not unicorns who defecate cotton candy, but horses whose muscles have never gained strength, whose brains have never been allowed to solve problems on their own, whose bodies have atrophied beyond repair, whose natural instincts have been worn down while trapped inside the cages of the man-made, man-marketed, and man-centered universe. No matter how a child feels, exactly 0 of them were born in the wrong body.
And as we all notice, whenever we argue with these trays, there's never any basis in fact. Whenever we make any arguments or we debate with them, there's nothing other than a bunch of personal insults. What are we doing right now? Calling us TERFs, telling us to fuck off and whatnot. But yet, we are the ones that are called the bigots. We are told that we are hateful. But yet, how come it is that I have never given a death threat in my life, but just for standing up and saying that women are women, I get them fucking daily, and it's from these people. So tell me, who is really the hateful one? It's not us.
Hello, my name is Margaret. I'm an adult human female. I've given birth to 2 children. I have grandchildren. He was also born by a woman. One of the things that really concerns me these days, though, is the whole political mess. That you guys sure didn't change me. We have a problem with the Democratic Party where there's a lot of people that, the ones that recognize adult human females that aren't being recognized because of the Equality Act, they're not going to be voting for Democrats. And so we have a problem because I really want to fix the climate as much as we can. I want to do what we can about civil rights and equality and all these other problems that we have. But our party has been hijacked by the trans activists. And so we need to get it back, basically, because otherwise we don't really have a party, because I don't agree with Republicans on just about anything. And so that's what I'm hoping people will think about. Thanks.
I ask that you have compassion for these young people. They are the children of the parents of my group, and I ask that you have compassion for them because they are suffering.
Hey, so I know it seems scary. I know it seems like men are taking over our spaces. I know it seems like porn-sick men are making demands of women, telling us how to define ourselves. Let women speak. Let women speak. Let women speak. Let women speak. I just wanted to say that men's rights movements come in all different shapes and sizes, but the end goal is always to silence, shame, and subjugate confident and intelligent women to succumb to men's needs and desires. These are porn-sick men who think women are an accumulation of sexist stereotypes. That is what they think women are. They do not respect females. Wake up. You still have time to leave. You still have time to dissent and join women.
Hello, can you hear me? I'm Elizabeth. I'm an adult human female. I'm a Democrat, a lifelong Democrat. I'm a leftist. I'm so far left you can't even see me because I'm out of the picture. And I am against the transgender cult. There is nothing wrong with your body. Your body is you. You grew your body from a single cell. Your body is not separate from your brain. That is a religious belief. That is a belief that you have a soul. Your body and your brain are one thing. And there is nothing wrong with your body. You do not need to change your body. Can you still hear me? You do not need to change your body. Lesbian girls and women do not need to change their bodies. Their bodies are fine as they are. Lesbians are fine. Let children grow up to be lesbians if that's who they're going to grow up to be. Gay boys have nothing wrong with their body. Gender non-conforming boys who like to wear sparkly princess dresses and nail polish have nothing wrong with them. Let them be who they are. Let them be effeminate. Let them wear what they want and groom themselves the way they want. Do not try to trans them and force them into lifelong medical interventions that will harm them. There is nothing wrong with gay boys. There is nothing wrong with gender non-conforming boys. There is nothing wrong with lesbians. There is nothing wrong with gender non-conforming girls. Let them be who they are. Let all of us be who they are. I am a feminist, and feminists for the past several hundred years have been engaged in one project: to allow people to be who they are without being forced to change or being prevented from going into universities or going into professions or going into men's clubs or going anywhere where we wanted to go. We just wanted to live our lives. And that is the Feminist Project. The Feminist Project is to enable everyone to live their own lives healthily and in peace without slicing off part of their bodies, without taking lifelong hormones that will cause them to be sterilized, that will cause vaginal atrophy in females, that will cause menopause at the age of 12 or 13 in females, that will cause all sorts of terrible lifelong medical problems. You don't need to take testosterone to be able to cut your hair into a buzz cut or wear pants or love another woman. If you are a woman, you can just do it. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with you.
Let me say a few things. Number one, I'm a Vietnam-era veteran. Number two, I'm a lesbian. Number three, I am a Jew. And number four, I'm a woman. I'm an adult female human being. And five, I'm a mother. I am here to talk to you about one thing and one thing only. What is wrong with this society that 132 women a day are murdered and nobody cares? What is wrong with a society that does not value women or children to the point where they allow butchery, removal of healthy body parts for no other reason than money? Every generation, my people dealt with Pharaoh. We got another Pharaoh here now. I say, Ine Ani, I am here I am, and not past me will you go. 132 women.
So one of the lessons I learned when I fell down the rabbit hole or got kicked down the rabbit hole. Anybody remember that old marketing campaign, pork is the other white meat? Anybody remember that? I was having a conversation with a trans identifying male, and they said to me, oh, you should eat some pork because it's white meat. And it, all of a sudden the pieces just kind of fell together. I have a lot of compassion for the men and the women who have fallen into this gender cult. This is a marketing campaign that, according to Market Watch, we all should be investing in. It's going to be a $6 billion industry by 2025. So get your money ready. You want to make a killing? Do it on the bodies of these children who are very confused because they're teaching them in school that a boy can be a girl. You might have a strange Pokemon inside of you that needs to be expressed. And the way to do it is to put yourself under the knife, to put yourself on drugs, to join in the capitalist wet dream of medicalizing somebody's identity. It's perfect. That's what this is. This is the convergence of capitalism with a fad. And this is what happens. In the next 10 years, you're going to see massive. Anybody who supported this stuff is going to be very embarrassed. You'll be taking all your social media stuff down because this is the wrong side of history. Any movement that harms the healthy bodies of children, that markets these exotic identities to children, is the wrong side of history. I think there's no such thing as a trans child. Again, this is vulture capitalism, cannibalizing young people. And it's at every level. It's this neoliberal project of marketing identity medicine to human beings. We have exploited every single corner of the world. We've raped and pillaged this world. Where are the new markets? It's in your body. Your body is the territory that they want to colonize. Transgenderism is the colonization, especially of women's bodies. We are uteruses. We are chest feeders. They're cutting wombs out of healthy young girls. What, to put them into men? This is the brave new world. People, we have to resist it wherever it occurs. And have compassion for the people who have bought the marketing, the lie, the other white meat. The other white meat. These people are the other white meat.
When you realize what you have done to your body, please go to transitionjustice.org. Transitionjustice.org by Partners for Ethical Care. Partners, detransitioners, and other people who recognize that gender medicine has harmed them or their child. Transition Justice is currently prosecuting these doctors.
Required to have therapy.
Hi! Can you hear me? So, my name is Sierra. I'm also known as Exolansic. I make videos where I take firsthand trans identifying person narratives, talking about the actual impact of their surgeries, and I respond to them point by point. And I try to give some context using my medical expertise and my understanding and humor I can muster in the face of such abject horror, and explain why their situations unfolded the way they did, so that people, when you watch enough of them, your brain will naturally form the category of horror. Test. Okay, perfect. So what you will see if you watch enough of these, even as 2 or 3, is that these horrors are very predictable once you know the pattern, once you know what to expect. And so you have issues of scar tissue and predictable complications when you are operating on such a busy, important, functional area as the voice box, or as the genitals, or as the rib cage. And you see similar issues when you bind the breasts and prevent the person from growing. We know from Chinese foot binding what happens when you bind a growing child, when you bind an area that has a lot of joints and a lot of bones. And your rib cage is an area with a lot of joints and a lot of bones that is growing and changing shape and size and moving all the time. And when you bind that in order to compress the breasts of a young person, a 13-year-old, you are harming them. You are inflicting scoliosis that might not have otherwise formed by having them do that every day. And you're giving them the idea that there is a way out of this, which would be the surgery that they have. And as I was just explaining to a protester, when you give children unnecessary surgeries, you have to give them opiates. And some fraction of those children will develop opioid addictions as a direct result of having been given an unnecessary surgery. An unnecessary surgery. And so I'm angry about that. I'm angry about that as somebody who has loved people who have been so sick with that. Because as these protesters want to tell me There's only a few of them. It's not a big deal. No need to worry about the opiate-addicted children because there's only a few of them. It won't happen to everyone. Well, there's not that many trans people. I'm sorry. There's not that many. So if that argument works against the opiate-addicted children that will result from these trans surgeries, it works against their entire position in general. So I don't think they accept that argument generally. And it's hypocritical. They want to push the harmed ones into the darkness. They don't want us to talk about them. They want it to be hate speech, to acknowledge people like Brian James, who ended up with a colostomy bag and a stoma that might be permanent. It's been about 18 months as far as I know. And this was from Boston Children's Health, and it was a direct result of a phalloplasty that Ryan didn't need, which is a direct result of the fact that Ryan had been set down this path when Ryan was still a minor. When Ryan was 17, Ryan was put on testosterone, and in the 20s ended up having the transition, surgeries, and now Ryan's life is destroyed. It's utterly destroyed, and it was entirely predictable result of the surgery, and there's so many more like them that I've documented, and I'm documenting more all the time, basically a couple times a week. Because their stories are worth telling, and their pain is real, and they're at the front of a bell curve that we haven't even begun to crest yet. That is being set up right now in schools across America. So we need to push back against this. I encourage you to educate yourself. Take a moment and try to find out the specifics of these surgeries that are being recommended. Don't assume that the doctors know what they're doing just because there's no bad press about it. They don't. These are all purely experimental. The drugs that they are giving them are also very experimental. So be giving a female child male levels of testosterone is obviously not a medical treatment. No female needs male levels of testosterone to survive. And it's obviously an experimental treatment. We haven't had the medical capacity to do this until very recently. So it's obviously purely experimental and a direct violation of billions of years of evolution. And so it has very predictably bad results. I work as a speech pathologist, and so I'm very aware also when I hear these vocal surgery outcomes, the botched outcomes, when I hear the vocal damage that is caused by both testosterone and estrogen. It doesn't seem to go away when they go off the hormones, or if it does, it takes a long time for them to heal. I care. I just really care. It's not okay what's happening. Thank you.
Hi, I'd like to say something, and I'm not speaking to the women activists, and I'm not speaking to the trans activists. I'm speaking to the people who are on the sidewalks. I just want you to notice who is trying to silence who. The women here are just trying to speak. Who is trying to silence who? We are giving information. We are telling our stories. We are being compassionate. They are setting off alarms, fucking with the mic system, honking the horns, being fucking rude and disrespectful. Look, notice who is doing this. Who is trying to silence who here? Who?
I've got some follow-up to that. I just want to talk about WORT 89.9 FM Madison. It's the community radio station here. It's been around since the 1970s, and they just announced last week that their policy changed, that the Access Hour, which is a program once a week that anybody in the community can sign up to do. Well, you have to apply, and it has to be approved. But the program exists because the founders of WORT believe in free speech. And so I interviewed Sheila Jeffries on the Access Hour in 2014, and then I interviewed, I did a Mishbeth's documentary on the Access Hour in 2015. And then in 2018, I interviewed Megan Murphy and Julie Bindle on the Access Hour. And after that, WORT changed its policy and now no longer allows even mention of lesbian and radical feminist news, analysis, and commentary. So they also would not even mention that Sisters for Sisters and this rally right here, there's no media here except for DIY indie media, Women's Liberation Radio News, WLRN. And the reason why WLRN exists is because we have a media blackout. The reason why the majority of Americans don't know that this is an issue and a problem is because it's not being reported on, and it's because these people are silencing us and they're not allowing us to have access to public airwaves, to have civil dialogue and discussion, which is the point of democracy. To make decisions that are good, we have to have civil dialogue and discussion. We have to be able to discuss the issues of the day. And so that's why we're out here today, is because we've been so silenced. They're trying to silence us right now. I'm really glad that their chatter has almost stopped. I'm so thrilled. I guess my voice must just be monotone enough that they just aren't, interested anymore. And that's fine, because you know what? We have the right to speak. We have the right. The wind agrees with me. Free speech for women, says the wind. It almost knocked me out because it's so true. And WORT 89.9 FM, shame on you. Wilmar Neighborhood Center, shame on you. Wisconsin Network for Peace, Justice, and Sustainability, shame on you for your defaming statements that are based on lies that some special men are female. It's just not true. There are no special men who are female, and it's okay to say that. It is not hate speech for women to assert our rights. It is not hate speech for women to have public access to the public airwaves. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kay Yang. Some of you might know me as the deprogrammer.
Yeah, you know about this person minutes ago. We found out we have pictures. Go the other way. We saw you elbowing her comrade in the face.
All right.
We have pictures of that.
Gender identity is not based in biological, objective reality. Rather, it is a purely subjective, clever, corporate fiction being used as a Trojan horse for the worldwide destruction of female sex-based rights and the erasure of the sexually dimorphic reality of humanity. While working at an LGBT nonprofit 10 years ago, I was paid by New York State to indoctrinate public school children with gender identity and transgender ideology. I had no idea at the time what I was contributing to. I was convinced, just like these people are, that I was doing the right thing. You see these people behind me? I was one of them. I am living proof. So is Elizabeth and other women here. Ex-Atlantic. We are living proof that you can go from there to here. You can affirm the sex-based rights of women and girls. I have become a whistleblower, working to document, expose, and publicly speak out about the attack on children that is being coordinated through the collusion of the state, corporate, and private sectors who use seemingly benevolent nonprofit organizations like GLAAD and GLSEN to push propaganda and target children in our public school systems. I was one of those people. When I first started working at the LGBT Center, I never, ever saw something called a trans child. Trans children did not exist. We were dealing with now what I realize were deviant men and lesbians who hated their breasts and female bodies because of the way that they are treated in this male supremacist patriarchal society. I would go into these public schools myself and one other woman. I was only 20 years old, but I was deemed an expert to go into schools and groom children, minors, without the knowledge or consent of their parents. That was 10 years ago. Now, You see these people behind me? We made these people. At the LGBT center I worked at and other LGBT centers around this country made these people. They did not exist like this before. There's no such thing as a trans child. No child is born in the wrong body.
We don't use the born in the wrong body narrative.
We would go into schools loaded up with our rainbow propaganda and goodies, including rainbow condoms and our safe space training materials from Glisten and Glad. And we would talk to kids about their sexuality and about their gender and ask them if they feel like they're a boy or if they think they might be a girl. And when we were doing this, I was just as adamant as these people are that what we were doing was about liberation. And it's not. Because the sex-based rights of women and girls are not compatible with gender identity ideology. Gender identity ideology is being pushed not just in America, but around the world. This is an international agenda being pushed by global governing bodies like the World Economic Forum and the United Nations. They are pushing this agenda on an international, national, federal, regional, and local level. That's why you see propaganda everywhere you go. This is a $5.2 trillion industry. And I'm not making that number up. That's the number that they give themselves. This is about capitalism. This is about creating a market. This is about turning healthy children into guinea pigs and cash cows for the medical industrial complex. This is about taking vulnerable, gender non-conforming children, vulnerable gay, lesbian, and bisexual youth, and funneling them into the trans machine. And what does that mean? That means when a child questions their gender, like one might amongst the backdrop of all this propaganda, when a child questions their gender, they are immediately fast-tracked onto something called gender affirmative care. Instead of being given any options,
A woman is speaking. A woman is speaking. A woman is speaking.
All right. I want to go back to talking about what I did at the LGBT Center. Because if you would have told me 10 years ago when I was going into these schools pushing this ideology that what we were doing was going to result in a future where 3, 4, 5, 6-year-old, even 2-year-old children, infants, are being paraded in front of international media, being openly sexualized, openly groomed for all to see it. I would have never believed you if you told me that when I was doing this 10 years ago. I would have never believed you. I would have said you were sick. I would have said you were a homophobe, a transphobe, a bigot. Now, those are the words that the very generation of young people I was grooming all those years ago use against me when they come across me online or in physical space, just like this. They hate that they cannot fool me with the rhetoric and lingo of trans rights activism. And they can't fool any of us because we're on to their games. We know their arguments better than they do. We know the propaganda better than they do. We know the rhetoric better than they do. These young people are extremely confused. These people are victims of an industry that is using them. These are rainbow foot soldiers. I was one of them. They don't know they're being exploited by massive corporations. They should, though. You should know, because everywhere you go, big banks support trans rights, right? Who else supports trans rights? Not just the banks, the oil and gas industry, Big Pharma, the United States government. The United States military. So you are on the side of the U.S. military, the big banks, Big Pharma. That's what you all represent. You represent the interests, the people behind me represent the interests of very rich and powerful people that are way more powerful than any of us here. They represent the rich and powerful elite of the world who are transforming this world into a world that's safe for the sexualization of children. And we say no. Children cannot consent. Children cannot consent. Children cannot consent. Children cannot consent. Women say no. We're not scared and we're not gonna take it.
I want to talk about women in prisons who are locked in cells with people with penises. These people with penises, some of them call themselves women, but the real point is that there are women locked in prison cells all over the United States with people with penises. These people with penises sometimes have been convicted of violent crimes against women and children. I want each woman who can hear me right now to imagine what it would be like to be locked in a cell with a person with a penis. Would you feel comfortable being locked in a cell with a person with a penis? Yes, a man. Right now, in many states in the United States, any man who says he identifies as a woman is automatically transferred to a woman's prison. He doesn't have to shave off his beard. He doesn't have to take hormones. He doesn't have to pretend that he likes to wear dresses. He doesn't have to take female hormones. All he has to do is say, I identify as a woman. Is it a surprise to you that many men would prefer to be in a woman's prison, and therefore, now that it's simple for him to get to a woman's prison by saying he identifies as a woman, he will say he is a woman. In Washington State, where I come from, 5 men several months ago were transferred into the women's prison in Purdy, Washington. 5 men, 5 adult human females, people with penises. Within 24 hours, one of those men raped a woman. The woman he raped was a developmentally disabled woman, so she was particularly vulnerable to being manipulated and to being raped. The group that I belong to in Washington State, we are in one-on-one contact with several hundred women that are locked up in the women's prison with men. Those women are terrified. If those women say to a guard, I am afraid of him, pointing to one of these people with penises, she is punished for misgendering him. Everybody knows that that person is a man. But if a woman says he, like I'm afraid of him, she is the one that is punished. The next thing I want to say about this is I think we all know that black women and brown women are greatly overrepresented in prisons. So if you care about the rights of black women and brown women, you should be especially concerned about black women and brown women being locked up with men. Most women in prison have already been sexually assaulted and raped before they ever got to prison. So these women are particularly aware of the danger that people with penises present. I don't care whether you call them trans women or whatever you call them. They are men. They are people with penises. And right now, brown women, black women, Asian women, and white women are in fear of being attacked by these men, and the fear is justified. In New Jersey, one person with a penis in a woman's prison has already impregnated 2 women. Now, I am told by those people that all women rape women, but come on, women, stop and think. Are you afraid of being raped by another woman? When you walk down the street, are you afraid of being raped by another woman? It's dark at night. Are you afraid of being raped by another woman when you see a woman on the street? I'm pretty sure you're afraid of being raped by a man. That's the risk that we take in our society. So, you know, you can say trans women are women, but they're not women. They're men. They're people with penises. Almost no men who call themselves women, almost none of them, have their male genitalia removed. Many people think that the men who call themselves trans women are effeminate gay men. They're not. Most men who call themselves trans women are heterosexual males. And that's why they're particularly delighted, if they're in prison, with being transferred into a women's prison. Because there they are. They've got a free field to do whatever they want to those women, knowing that all it would take would be a woman shouting, "He's raping me," and she would be punished for calling him he. But he will not be punished for raping her.
Thank you, Holly. Let's call it what it is. It's state-sanctioned rape. State-sanctioned rape. Housing convicted male criminals with women is state-sanctioned rape. I would like to thank everybody that came up and spoke. I appreciate all the women and all of what you said. And we are going to close our speaker's corner. I want to leave you with one word: resist.